The limit of human endurance. What does it mean to survive? Is it luck? Is it skill? Or is it something deeper, a primal, unyielding will to live, forged in the crucible of impossible circumstances? Human history is filled with stories of survival. Tales of lone explorers lost in frozen wastes, of sailors adrift on endless oceans. But one story stands apart. It is not just about overcoming nature, it is about overcoming the very limits of the human mind and body. It's a story of unbreakable faith, unimaginable hardship, and a decision so profound, it has echoed through the generations. This is the story of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. But more than that, it is the story of the miracle of the Andes. The ultimate test of human endurance. The journey begins. The year is 1972. The place, Montevideo, Uruguay. A group of young men, members of the Old Christians rugby team, are buzzing with excitement. They're on their way to Santiago, Chile, for a match. They aren't just a team, they are friends, some are family. Their futures are bright, their spirits are high. On Friday, October 13th, they board a chartered Fairchild F-227 aircraft. The flight is a quick one, just a couple of hours. But the Andes Mountains stand in their way, a jagged, unforgiving spine of rock and ice that separates Argentina from Chile. The pilots, believing they have crossed the mountains due to a navigational error, begin their descent. But they are wrong. Dangerously wrong. The plane is still deep within the mountain range. What happens next is a moment of sheer terror. The aircraft shudders as it slams into a mountain peak. The wing shears off. The tail detaches, carrying the kitchen and rear passengers with it. The fuselage, now an unguided metal projectile, slides at immense speed down a glacier, a terrifying toboggan ride of snow, wind, and screams. The fuselage finally grinds to a halt in the deep snow. Silence. A profound, ringing silence. When it finally breaks, it is replaced by the groans of the injured and the chilling howl of the wind. Of the 45 people on board, 29 are still alive. But their ordeal has just begun. The immediate aftermath and the long wait. They are stranded at over 11,000 feet, in a remote, nameless valley. The air is so thin it burns the lungs. The cold is so intense it freezes the soul. They huddle inside the shattered remains of the plane's fuselage, trying to stay warm. The injured are tended to by two medical students on board, Roberto Canessa and Gustavo Zerbino, who use what little they have to patch up their friends. The first days are a blur of pain, grief, and hope. They hear on a small transistor radio that a search is underway. They believe it's only a matter of time before they are found. They ration what little food and drink they have, a handful of chocolate, some wine, a few jars of jam. But their hope is a fragile thing, and soon, it is shattered. After 8 days, the radio delivers the most devastating news. The search has been called off. The search for the Uruguayan aircraft has been suspended. The words hang in the freezing air, a death sentence. At this moment, they realize a chilling truth. No one is coming for them. The unthinkable decision. As the weeks stretch on, the initial shock gives way to a grim reality. They are starving. The last crumbs of food are gone. The cold gnaws at their resolve. With no vegetation, no animals, no chance of rescue, they are staring into the abyss. The young men, once bright and full of life, become hollow-eyed and desperate. Then, the most harrowing discussion of all begins. One of the medical students, Roberto Canessa, proposes the unimaginable. To survive, they must resort to cannibalism. This is not a decision made lightly. It is a moment of intense moral and spiritual turmoil. These men were raised with strict Catholic beliefs. The idea of consuming human flesh is an act of pure anathema. They discuss the concept of the Eucharist, the body and blood of Christ. They make a solemn, unspoken pact. If one of them were to die, their body would be used to sustain the others. It is an act of love, of sacrifice. On the 16th day, a terrible decision is made. They have no choice. The first incisions are made with a shard of glass. It is a moment of profound horror, a shattering of all taboos, but it is also a testament to their desperate will to live. They eat small pieces of flesh, dried in the sun. This act, born of necessity, is what will sustain them for the next 2 months. The final hope. The weeks pass. Hunger is replaced by cold, and cold by the constant threat of avalanche. On October 29, an avalanche buries the fuselage while the survivors are sleeping. 8 more are killed instantly. Their number is now 19. The survivors who live through it are more determined than ever. They realize that waiting will only lead to a slow death. Their only option is to save themselves. They must cross the mountains. But who? Nando Parado, a young man who was in a coma for the first 3 days and lost his mother and sister in the crash, is an obvious choice. His grief has been forged into a will of pure steel. He is joined by Roberto Canessa, the medical student who first proposed the unthinkable. They are the strongest, the most determined. For weeks, they train. They eat as much as they can to build up their strength. They craft rudimentary gear from the wreckage, a sleeping bag from seat insulation, makeshift boots, and 3 layers of clothing. Finally, on December 12, they set out on a journey that everyone tells them is impossible. The trek and the rescue. Nando and Roberto begin their trek. For 10 days, they walk, climb, and slide. They are at the edge of starvation, constantly battling exhaustion and frostbite. They reach the top of the mountain range, expecting to see green valleys on the other side. They see only more mountains, a sight so crushing it almost breaks them. But Nando, fueled by his desperate hope, pushes on. He tells Roberto, "We'll find help, or we'll die trying." Finally, on the 10th day, they see it. A small patch of green grass. A few scattered cows. And across a rushing river, a man on horseback. The sight is so unbelievable that they fear it is a hallucination. The man, a Chilean arriero named Sergio Catalan, is across the river and can't hear them. They write a note, wrap it around a rock, and throw it across the water. The note reads, "I come from a plane that fell in the mountains. We are 14 friends still alive. We need help. We have been in the mountains for 70 days. We need help soon." The man returns with food. The next day, a full-scale rescue operation is launched. 2 helicopters take to the sky. The world watches in disbelief as 14 men, once given up for dead, are brought back to civilization. A story for the ages. VO. The media descends on the survivors. The story of their survival, and what they had to do to achieve it, spreads like wildfire. While some are horrified, most are moved to tears by the sheer power of their will. The survivors, now heroes, are celebrated for their teamwork, their resilience, and their faith. They had made a pact, a promise to each other in the face of death. They had become a single, living organism, each part sacrificing for the whole. The story of the Andes survivors is more than just a tale of physical endurance. It is a story of the human spirit's capacity to triumph over the most unimaginable odds. It is a reminder that even in the face of absolute despair, the will to live, to love, and to sacrifice for others, can create a miracle. It is the greatest survival story in human history.